No. This is your energy that's crushing my space. I'm taking you. This is you. I'm boiling you up. Look, this is your energy in a ball. Look what I'm doing to it. 76 feet away from me is what I need. What I need. 76 feet away from me is what I need.
Sunnies, it is I, Queen J Lotus, King Sun Kiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, for this Scorpio, full moon, Aries, time 7, loud, sacred, queer, feminine messages. Sacred rage, queer, loud, feminine messages. And this would be part 2, aka collective 2, of the encouragement messages, encouraging calls to action as it concerns all things going towards gaining and maintaining a better sense of optimism, joy, peace, fun, celebration, okay? Uplifting the life force, all towards the divinely designed elements of the heart's passion, staying focused and committed, lovingly and celebratorily, with enjoyment and pleasure towards the heart's passion. And the reason why this is part 2, aka collective 2, it was gonna be a pick a card, turned out different, so make sure that you tapped into the playlist. I'm trying to make sure to put it in the description box. So it's because I'm putting signs and symbols of resonation in the description box as well to help you make your decision on, which part you may resonate with more. And some of you, or a lot of you, may resonate with both group / parts. So for some of you, this will be part 2. For some of you, you just group 2. All right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the specificities of these cards. So for our first cards here, from the Earth Warrior Oracle, we have Dadri, Hearing Truth, with the number 21. And we have Walls Closing In, from the Love and Money Oracle that came out sideways, with the number 15. So we got 2 ones in this layout, amongst a 2 and a 5. So we're dealing with some partnership teams, some teams dealing with new beginnings, and some calls for balance, especially being the fact that the Love and Money Oracle card came out sideways. You put the 2 and 1 together, and you get the number 3. You put the 1 and the 5 together, and you get the number 6. So 3 is all about alchemy, creation, and divinely designed purpose. And 6 is all about intuitive, reminiscing, reflecting, and recollecting. And I can tell you already, especially given the fact of the coloration of the cards, particularly the Earth Warrior card, we got some past life stuff going on. We definitely got some past life stuff going on, some generational pathology stuff going on. So I ain't gonna waste no more time. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into the specificities of this read, starting with the walls closing in. And what I can tell too already from this reading is that it's definitely a fine split down the middle. This is definitely 2 different groups of people being channeled through this reading. Hence, with the walls closing in card, it literally has 2 different groups of meanings. So, ride with me. I'm going to pop the card in the yard, all right? So, I'm going to start out by reading the contents of the card, starting with the right side up. And the right side up is 1 group, okay? So, walls closing in, right side up. This is, you can say, group 1 of this collective. Okay? Removing the walls built by cultural differences, sexual orientation, or other divides that once seemed unbreakable. There is no more space for denial, only for resolution. All right. So, in this particular collective that's resonating more so with the right side up of this card and these messages, there is some passed down bigotry of some sort. And some of you all yourself, you may not be mindfully bigoted or prejudiced, but this teaching and having not actually done the groundwork, the germination work to really acknowledge that aspect of your family and go in and unpack that with yourself, there's some sort of self-hate going on, which inevitably has generated an implicit bias. Okay. And for some of y'all, this is you, and for some of y'all, this is someone that you're dealing with, and for some of you, it's both. And it's something that you've attracted right? For those of you where it's both, where, so here's how it's coming up. It's giving very queer vibes. It's giving very, very queer vibes amongst witchy vibes. So you may be queer one way or another, whether it's gay, bi, trans one way or another, pansexual, witchy, all that. Also, I'm picking up like ADHD, bipolar, some sort of like the psychological and things of that nature going on, having some mental challenges, if you will. So there is some sort of prejudice, disdain, some sort for whatever umbrella you fall into that's been like passed down through your family, as well as your mate's family. And it's kind of been an elephant in the room. Even though there has seemed to be a tolerance of some sort, there still has been this elephant of the room of someone or somebody saying stuff that is offensive. And it's been building up and building up and building up. And or you may do, so for instance, if you are a gay male, you may do very flamboyant things, snap your finger, you may be quite loud, you may dance around very whimsically, things of that nature. And your mate has acted like, or, carried on as if, this doesn't bother them, and they've tried to ignore it. For some of you, you may go out with your friends who are on whatever spectrum of queer, witchy shit, maybe like stuff that you post, maybe like hearing like somebody watching people's pages, watching your page, they see you posting gay stuff, or they see you posting certain spiritual stuff that's not Christian, that's not religion. Somebody is lurking, running tail that, and it's like, so it's like this type of thing has been a looming like dark cloud over some of y'all's head, and it's been people running back like to your mate or whatever, saying stuff like, we don't do that, we don't go for that, da 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 da. And so that's a part of the walls that's closing in. Y'all been trying real hard to ignore the elephant in the room that is you being a peacock one way or another, and both of y'all families essentially have been conditioned to be hateful towards peacocks, if you will. And I'm hearing that for you all specifically, those of you that's resonating with this part, that's been eating away at you like slowly but surely on the inside. And now I'm hearing the song Cranes in the Sky. She's like, I tried to drink it away, I tried to smoke it away, I tried to run it away, I tried to work it away, I tried to, just do all these things to get rid of, and it's coming time to face it. And that's where we get into those parts where it's like no more space for denial, only for resolution. It's coming time to make a decision as to whether or not y'all are going to truly remove those walls built by cultural differences and sexual orientation. It's given like, it's a light and dark army, which side you choose, are you going to continue to try to bend yourself in a pretzel to satisfy people or be something that you're not for people that are committed to hating you? Well, you can't be nobody but you, for real. It's telling that song, tell me, is it enough for you? Is it enough? Is it truly enough? So this is calling out to evaluate who you are and what you truly represent and your purpose versus this pretty opportunity and or whatever. Like basically you're having to choose, are you gonna love yourself or sell your soul? And it calls for your mate to also have to decide which side they're going to choose, and or if they're going to enforce upon you to essentially conform and essentially sell your soul. So yeah, it's some really like drastic choices having to be made, and this is some definitely like heavy, staticky type energy, which is also making sense why that number 15, and number 15 is a number of manifestation, particularly as it concerns the multi-lifetime aspect. So this is a huge generational thing. And what I'm hearing is there may even be like some people in your family that have lived long lives of misery, being imprisoned to relationships that did not serve them and being in relationships with people that they knew were incapable of loving them wholeheartedly because they had hate for what they represent. So for example, it shows me a dark-skinned woman with a light-skinned man, and he dotes on her, she's his wife, this, that, and the third. But all the while, despite her being his wife, mother of his kids, and all this and that, he is incapable of truly loving her wholeheartedly if he has color complex issues, if he has colorism issues. And yes, you can be married to someone, have sex with them, have babies with them, and have hate, bigotry, prejudice, implicit bias towards certain things about them that they cannot control, that are who they are, and based on what it represents to you. So if dark skin in any way represents less than worthy, less than desirable, even though it may be something that he really enjoyed enough for. And honestly, based on back in the day, the maid mattress and mule thing was definitely more of a thing. And this is spirit showing me like somebody's specific situation, somebody's like grandma, great grandma's specific situation of being a dark skinned woman married to a light skinned man that does not fuck with her. You know something? That's how the book, oh my gosh, this is so crazy, because The Color Purple, the movie specifically, channeled through the first part of this reading. But now it's giving me the book, where in the book, The Color Purple, Mr. is described as a light skinned man. See, like that. I don't even, like, if you know about The Color Purple, I don't even have to do that much explaining on that. But it was like literally showing me somebody's grandma, great grandma, whatever down the line, a specific situation of living some sort of life like Seeley, specifically in the form of how it was in the book, being married and indoctrinated essentially to a light-skinned man. He didn't go get Seeley because, or let alone any other wife, he didn't go get them because he truly wanted to love somebody and cherish them for the rest of their lives and all this other shit. First of all, he's a pedophile. Second of all, he wanted a maid mattress and a mule. He wanted a slave. And so that's where it's like, is it worth it to you to enslave yourself to what other people want you to be and what other people think should be, that is really based in hate and bigotry and misinformation, versus owning who you are and loving who you are and actually fulfilling your purpose and therefore actually having a more fulfilling life? And this is definitely calling you all to separate what things truly are versus what they look like. All right, we're going to leave that at that for y'all, and we're going to flip on over to the other side of the card. So this is group 2 of group 2. Okay, and it reads, our backgrounds may be worlds apart, but our hearts remain aligned, breaking the walls that try to keep us apart. Even when the world sees walls, we find a way to stay united, choosing love over division. Hey now, and for y'all had, this is what it's giving me, y'all had a rough start to whatever these relationships are. So for a lot of y'all, it is romantic relationships, and for others of y'all, it is like some friendships type shit. So it's giving y'all like kind of got out to a rough start. Y'all didn't really know what to think of each other at first. Probably like made a bad impression on each other at first. I'm giving like maybe like some gender war type stuff, some gender role, very dominant. Ooh, okay. It's giving a dynamic where the male is a bit more on the feminine side. Or whoever is more mass presenting, they're more on the feminine side as far as their spirit and personality, while the more feminine presenting person is more of the masculine energy. And so it's given that before, that kind of caused a lot of turbulence, because it's given that the more femme presenting person or the more femme identifying person, it's very straightforward. It's very like, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm like, it is what it is, and this is what it is, and this is what it's gonna be. And based on certain belief systems about male, female, and masculinity and femininity and all of that passed down through their family, made them feel weird about their sense of masculinity and manhood when whoever the feminine being is, whoever the feminine identifying, feminine presenting being would, say anything. But it does seem like it's a male and female situation. So like in that type of situation, the female is very straight up and down, very clear on how they feel and think about things, call it out, just say it straight to the point, ain't doing all that back and forth and whatever, what have you. And the male is more like, more emotional, transparent, may even cry, may also have moments of non-confrontation, of being like very reserved and maybe even, a little sulky, a little in their feelings, may like do music or something, may like go journal and do poetry and shit like that. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but it's just taking some time for, if you will, the male in the situation to come to grips with what they've been taught about masculinity and femininity, and feeling like the roles have been reversed, and that was like causing them insecurity. But like now, as time has gone on and there's been grace and compassion and patience and perseverance and commitment in the situation, it's caused for a lot of the walls of division to be dissolved, and for like this 7 type energy, where like 7 is an odd number, right? But it's a lucky number. And it's an odd number and an even number coming together to make a lucky odd number. So that's the type of shit that y'all are giving to have to holes even that seem like it wouldn't go together, but it come together. 2 things that theoretically don't match, not supposed to match, not supposed to get along, coming together and actually genuinely getting along in harmony. Yes, okay, that's real cute. That's real cute. And that's also contributing to breaking a generational curse of like, I just heard like interracial marriages, as well as like bringing different classes together, bringing different industries of people together. It's like ending some type of Romeo and Juliet cycle that has gone on throughout y'all's family generations. Interesting. But hey, I'm glad y'all are breaking that cycle, because that's, that's great to be breaking that cycle. And so that could show up as like a queer relationship coming together, rich girl, poor man, just quote unquote, for example, coming together. Also interracial relationships that can also be in the form of interracial relationships coming together in harmony. Bicultural relationships coming together in harmony. So y'all probably have different religions or different spiritualities, and on paper or theoretically, historically, throughout y'all's generations, if you will, you know, depending on where you are and shit, it may be two different spiritualities or two different religions that have historically clashed and or don't be doing how they mixing and mingling and stuff, but y'all have, you know, with y'all's relationship or whatever, what have you, y'all has come together and you know, gel together in harmony, integrated in harmony. So it's giving good, genuine, stable allyship. And I was also hearing like political views. So for example, two different people, one may be Republican, one may be Democrat, that seems like it's not supposed to come together, but it's come together in harmony, and it's giving allyship, and it's on the frequency of harmonious integration, like really divine design, harmonious integration, which is some really good positive change type shit, to be honest, because like I said, it's giving genuine allyship, not just some bullshit. So for group one of this card, it's giving y'all maybe having to face that y'all been trying so hard and so long to fit a square peg into a triangle hole, and been trying to ignore the fact that it just don't fit and it just won't work. And y'all may have to choose yourself, and just see if the other person is going to choose you or continue themselves to sell their own souls, and or just accept the fact that they may really be phobic of who and how you are. And that's definitely some tough shit. But I'm very confident that some great encouraging messages are going to come out through this reading that will help y'all, help yourselves, you know, recover and be free. And, you know, getting rid of people like that, you know, life's rejection is God's protection. So it may hurt at first, but it's best that you not be trying to love somebody that is literally programmed and committed to the programming of hating you for real. And, you know, it's somewhat redeeming, you know, if they've tried to be tolerant type shit, and if they realize they just aren't that, then it's got to be good riddance. It's got to be good riddance. Because just truthfully, you know, y'all don't deserve to have to subject yourselves to constantly be with someone or around someone that on a soul level, you know, you won't ever feel genuinely safe, comfortable, or, you know, things of that nature being around. Because on a soul level, and this is what I'm picking up on based on who and how y'all are, y'all have been trying to conform for a long time, and it's giving that's not y'all for real, and eventually it would tick tick boom. So these are like messages coming through as like a warning on that, that y'all need to be honest about who y'all are and who y'all want to be for real, because it's giving constantly getting in a cycle of, or constantly having been in a cycle of getting with people who are trying to ignore the parts of you that they are committed to the belief system of hating. Like they may be attracted to you, they may like certain things that you represent and a lot of things that you do for them and contribute and bring into their life, but they are incapable of truly being intimate with you, especially on a lifetime basis, without oppressing you in some way, because that's how they've been conditioned, and they're committed to that conditioning. They believe in that. They try to come off like, for example, oh gosh. But for example, the type of white person that would be like, they're not racist, but they don't understand why they can't say the N-word if black people say the N-word. Or the type of person that's like, they're not homophobic, but they get disgusted at the sight of very flamboyant gay men for real. And remember that came up that, you know, you could be a gay male that's a very flamboyant, effeminate gay male that's in a relationship with a mask presenting male. So like obviously they may be gay, and they may have internalized homophobia in the form of specifically towards the more effeminate gay males type shit. Misogyny towards effeminate gay males. And so they may be like, they love you and all this and that, but whenever you start getting up dancing and twerking at the party and this and that, they low-key feel embarrassed. And that's not for you to change and shrink yourself. That's for them to either make peace with it, and it seems like they're not making peace with it. Like it's not in them to make peace with that. And so it's for y'all to make the decision to accept things for what they are and what they should be, versus trying to force some shit. Goodness. And this is coming up to, this is coming up that for the Right Side Up Collective, the pathology has a lot to do with releasing this belief system. It's given from y'all's subconscious, from y'all's Earth Star chakra, which is the past life chakra, and y'all's root chakra and solar plexus and throat chakra. It's polluting all the other shit. because y'all are coming from this pathology of self-harm, self-deprecation, self-shrinking, and things of that nature being a love language. Like, if you love me, you'll shrink from me. If you love me, you'll hurt yourself for me. You'll put yourself through agony to try to be whatever it is that I want or expect you to be, or whatever it is that makes me comfortable to show that you love me, even if it hurts yourself. And that's not love. That's not love. That's narcissism. But for real, I do like truly wish y'all the best with that, for real. And I am quite certain and hopeful that it's gonna be some further clarification and uplifting messages for y'all as we get throughout the rest of the reading. For group 2 of the other side, in a nutshell, like I already said, y'all have and for some of you this is already going on, for some of you it's coming, where it's two oddballs that seem like they would not go together but integrate together harmoniously, and it's like the end of a generational war type shit, and it's like good genuine allyship and all of that good positive change and shit. So that's magnificent. And now we are segueing on over into our Earth Warrior Oracle. And this is where I know we're gonna get some extra clarifying and uplifting messages, child. Because wow, I know that there's good news in here. This energy is heavy. This energy is quite foggy and heavy. But let's go ahead and get into this card. Straight out the gate, I gotta let you know that this card in general lets me know when there are certain specific things that you're going to have to meditate on and tap into your own spiritual gifts on, so that your divine realm, your ancestors, can give you specific messages specifically for you. It's like sacred information that has to be given directly to you from your divine realm for you to then disperse amongst wherever you're supposed to disperse it. Okay? And I'm going to make it make sense, right? So this card is a card that specifically comes out for people who have shamanic type purposes, and to give a distinct indication of what it means to be a shaman. So also I gotta note that when I looked it up, one of the meanings for it is self-healed madman. Keep that in mind. Also, this is a Christ-like consciousness and purpose, and it's giving, and I'm literally hearing that y'all would be the specific people that Christ died for. And Spirit is directing me to go ahead and say Christ didn't die for everybody. Christ died for specific people. It's going back to those Sealy color purple channelings. There's some sort of parallel there of Sealy's representation as a Christ-like being, a Christ-like type of consciousness and purpose, if you will. And remember those messages that were like, it's a matter of time. And this type of thing kind of came up in the first part of the reading about paid dues. So, frequency of death. That's crazy, but definitely not a coincidence, because we in the Scorpio full moon energy, and Scorpio is a symbol of death. Death is also the tarot card for Scorpio, and Santissima, Mama Muerte, is one of the most prominent gods, if you will, for Scorpios in particular. So yeah, all that to say, y'all have had a huge purpose of taking on a lot of very ridiculous types of fatal and brutal attacks from different people and entities and such. And this has driven you all mad. But what's specific about this collective is that a lot of you have been, I'm hearing, beaten. And this may not be physically, or it may not have like always been physically. Some of it is spiritual beatings, some of it is energetic, emotional, mental beatings, which is given frequencies of abuse. But they want to be specific that these are frequencies of violence that y'all have been normalized to. So a lot of y'all were raised, if you will, to take beatings for everybody. And again, it doesn't always have to be physical. It's a frequency of violence that Spirit is trying to wake y'all up to, because the way that y'all have been raised and conditioned in whatever way to take these beatings, I'm hearing sacrificial lamb. And remember too that we in this Aries times 7 energy. Also, an Aries are sheep, a lamb is a sheep, a baby sheep, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Mary had a little lamb. Yes, so that's a baby lamb is symbolizing purity. Y'all are very pure, very young souls also. So that makes sense too, that Scorpio energy as well, very young soul type shit. So yeah, y'all's sense of purity has been set up like, they're giving me the image of, imagine a big white pearly fluorescent ball orb, if you will, sitting up on a pedestal, but particularly it's being held on the pedestal through being pierced by some sort of blade. So like the orb has been stabilized by being pierced from the bottom. Imagine someone sticking a thorn or a thumbtack in someone's feet for them to sit down on, but imagine a bigger needle type shit. And the orb is sitting there pierced on it, right? So it appears to be sitting on a pedestal, but what you don't see is that the orb is being stabbed from the bottom. And so from the outside looking on, it looks like this just big, pretty, pearly orb, and it seems like it's also just so perfectly stabilized on this pedestal. But what you don't see and realize is how it's being stabbed from the bottom. Stabbed from the bottom is giving root chakra attacks. So what this is also representing is people of your village sitting you up on this pedestal. You seem like, it seems stable. It seems like they set you up here and they shove this needle up your ass in order to stabilize you. But in actuality, it's to keep you there. It's to keep you disarmed. It's to keep you, I'm hearing, think about the form of crucifixion. Yeah, it's like nailing the needles in Jesus' hands to keep him up on the cross. But in y'all's case, it looks pretty. But being stabbed from the bottom like that and being held up on this pedestal like that is damaging, it's painful, it's harmful. But y'all have been taught that this is stability. And because it looks so pretty and because your big, pure, pearly, orbital essence and aura is making everyone else happy, and they're looking on and they're smiling and they're applauding, and it's making everyone else happy and full of life, and they're enjoying what they're seeing, you've been taught to just be grateful and to ignore this throbbing needle that's been shoved up your ass. And this is a frequency of chronic pain. This is a frequency of chronic pain, and some of you may deal with chronic illnesses of some sort. And this is the part of where it's been manifested from. It's been manifested from childhood. And so that's also where the meditations are specifically meant to be channeled as well. And specifically like where a lot of your messages will come from this specific meditation of this card is from your higher self and your inner child, as well as your past life selves. And amongst, I'm hearing it will allow for your shadow self to help you organize things, because I keep hearing the song. I can't remember what animated movie it's from, but it goes like, I see you red, red. I don't know the artist, but I just keep hearing that particular lyric. I see you red, red. That, and it's bringing up something about the menstrual cycle. I don't know if that movie has something to do with like themes of the menstrual cycle also. It's a frequency of pain and anger. Now I'm hearing Money Mike, that's not his name in First Sunday, but Money Mike, Cat Williams' line in First Sunday, you are singing from somewhere where you have pain and anger, and we don't need that. And so yes, y'all have been functioning from a place of suppressed, I'm like literally seeing like crust and concrete around y'all's sacral chakra. Infertility, because the waters are suppressed, the waters are clogged and infested with built up mold, mildew, crusted over like to the point of like it's like concrete. It's like concrete blocking the flow of the river. Keep that in mind. Keep those terminologies in mind and shit, right? So bear with me, okay? So y'all need to get pissed off. That's what's coming up here. Y'all, it's something, the way y'all have been normalized to just functioning and being propped up, strings, puppeteered by something. Okay, it's puppeteering, Pinocchio. Y'all, this is how they're giving me the messages, okay? But something is puppeteering you. Something has been puppeteering you through pain and anger, and or it's the pain and anger that has been puppeteering you because it's been so pressed. It's so suppressed. So pressed. You've been pressed about something. And failure to take control of it has caused it to take control of you. You've been puppeteered by something and someone. But there's been this thing of just working through pain and anger. Not literally working through it, but just pressing through. Forcing yourself to just keep going through pain and anger. Stuffing it down. Someone did those messages about the mental illnesses are coming back up. So you could have had your negative emotions treated like disease, where you feel sadness and people are like, oh, you're sad today? Have you taken your meds? Oh, you're upset? Have you taken your meds? Like, no. And this is abuse. Y'all need to recognize that is abuse, because your emotions are not diseases. Yes, you may have a mental illness of some sort, may have mental challenges of some sort, but everything is not because you're crazy. Your emotions are still valid. and need to be explored and deserve to be explored for a reason. They're still attached to your intuition. And just because you may have mental challenges doesn't mean that your intuition is bullshit. Doesn't mean that you don't have a good sense of intuition. In fact, it could mean, and it's coming up to mean here, that a part of your mental challenges are actually major parts of your superpowers, major parts of your intuition. And you're needing to learn how to spiritually treat them in order to learn how to better use them and make them work for you better, as opposed to you demonizing them and suppressing them and constantly suppressing them through medications, or for some of you through substances, for some of you just forcing yourself through work, throwing yourself into work in order to avoid emotions, in order to avoid serious conversations, or making difficult decisions. And so again, that's where this card comes in. And going back to the imagery, you see a woman there with her eyes closed, and it's a whole lot of going on around her. So this is like a frequency. This is a frequency of blindedness. So the card is meant to represent closing out external opposing forces and going back into yourself and making amends with the truth in yourself and getting more clarity on your truth, your internal truth, and what is true to you and what is meant to be true to you. But where y'all are at with it is where y'all have been set up to think that y'all have been properly functioning in this shamanic, detachment. But in actuality, y'all have been trained to blind yourselves. Y'all have been trained to blind yourselves to chaos that is going on around you, blind yourself to lies, to essentially silence your intuition, to know the truth, but throw it to the back of your mind, not act on it, and just kind of puppeteer yourself through it, just dance through it, as opposed to either calling it out for the sake of demolishment and or removing yourself for the sake of demolishment. It's giving, you're so used to being the generator, you're so used to being responsible for the responsible air being in the room, being responsible for the beauty always being in the room, the joy always being in the room. And there's something like, if you remove yourself, certain shit is going to fall apart. Certain people won't be able to figure out certain things for themselves. Certain people will then start to turn on each other. Families may fall apart, shit like that. But it's giving, there needs to be destruction of homes that should have never been built in the first place. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. So some other symbols we got here, which is doves, which again brings in that frequency of death amongst rebirth. She has dream catcher hair, and it's a whole lot going on. This is a call for crown chakra cleanse. All these pops of orange is amongst the other messages that have come out, amongst those messages about the waters being blocked and deserted and like filled with concrete and clogging and crust and all that good stuff. Sacral chakra energy is like really intense crown and sacral chakra cleanses that need to happen here. If you've been seeing doves or if you've been seeing white birds, those are some signs and symbolisms of resonation, amongst some signs and symbolisms that you have some very prominent ancestors near you, aiding you and guiding you, keeping you up. Okay, dream catchers are also symbolisms, of course. Signs and symbols of ancient geometry are some signs and symbolisms of resonation, and your ancestors as well as your past life selves trying to speak to you and communicate to you. Mountains and pyramids are also symbolism signs from Egypt as well as Aboriginal Australia. This is an Aboriginal Australian card, also indigenous Australian card, if you will, as well, just so you know. Orange butterflies, specifically lunar moths, and black butterflies, as well as the song Black Butterfly by Denise Williams is a prominent channeling coming through. Black Butterfly, okay? And it's going back to First Sunday. So First Sunday is an unmistakable channeling in itself, because that's another line from Money Mike's character. See, you everybody can't be a black butterfly. Somebody's got to be a moth. That's what he said. You can't be Denise Williams. Everybody can't be a black butterfly. Somebody's got to be a moth. So see, that moth comes back into play. Also, what I can't ignore is showing me Lee, John, and Darrell in First Sunday. Now I'm starting to understand why First Sunday is channeling through. Somebody got some dishonest money dealings going on. Someone has dishonest money dealings going on. So be careful. Someone could have you caught up in some unethical and or illegal money dealings, or they may be trying to get you caught up in it, and or someone that you have relationship with one way or another may have some unethical, illegal, dishonest type money dealings going on. Okay, I'm hearing scamming, money laundering. I'm also hearing addiction. So somebody could be have money overly invested in some addictions of some sort, and for some people this may be sex addiction. Someone or some people may be spending a lot of money on prostitutes. They're showing me the argument on the show Pose between Angel's sugar daddy and his wife, where she was asking about a dishwasher. She wanted a dishwasher to take a load off of her because she running behind the kids all day. Then they constantly messing up. She got to clean up. They messing up, got to clean up, and then she spent all damn night washing dishes, and he's complaining to her about he not getting enough attention from her. He work all damn day. The least he could do is come home and have her attention and this and that, but she's spending all the time washing dishes. She's like, well, give me a dishwasher. He said, no, you just ain't working hard enough. You just not strategized enough. You just ain't organized enough. You just don't know what you're doing and this and that, da da da. And he cusses her out about asking for a dishwasher just for him to go spend even more money on Angel an apartment, a fur coat, and some more shit. So yeah, that's coming up for a reason. That's meant to give some people some clues about some things that may be going on behind their back. You may be asking your mate a simple question, or for something simple, you may be in this state of like, I don't ask them for much, but every time I ask them for something, they start acting crazy, and it's because they are guilty and they got their money wrapped up in something else that they ain't got no business, and you are triggering the guilt in him by asking him questions. And that's not for you to be responsible for, and that brings back up those messages about being overly accountable and overly responsible. So this person or these people recognize that you're the type of person that is in the habit, that's been trained to hold yourself overly accountable and be overly responsible for people, and they're taking advantage of that. Every time you question them about something and they get upset and throw it back in your face, or villainize you for asking, act like you just greedy, or they try to guilt trip you or whatever for things they've done for you, or things that you're asking for, it's because they're taking advantage of your trauma response, essentially, of holding yourself overly accountable and overly responsible for things. Ooh, child. They keeping us here in the pose world, whereas, so the thing about this card is it comes with a lot of messages about being very keen and not letting people distort your personal relationship with God, and your personal relationship with yourself, and your personal relationship with your belief systems. So people like you all come across a whole lot of crowds of people that are like, assimilate to our beliefs or we're going to burn you at the stake type shit. And whether they say it or not, they energetically communicate it to you, and or they do microaggressive things around you. They send a message one way or another with violence attached to it that snaps you into your training of, I have to cloak myself in order to, for some of you, be accepted, in order to get through this task or get through this moment or get through to whatever it is that you think the prize or the goal is. And for some of you, it could literally be because, you know, because your heart is wrapped up into whoever these people are, and or whoever these people are that are attached to someone that you may love and care about. And it's like bringing up Scrappy from Love and Hip Hop, like bringing up his dynamic with Bambi, and particularly like where his mama, baby mama, all of them could be attacking Bambi, and he would do little to nothing to defend Bambi, and a lot of them would end up like reaction policing Bambi. Even though Bambi would be doing little to no responding to them, they would still be policing her reactions and trying to pressure her into fawning for their acceptance in order to get them off of her, as opposed to anyone coming to her defense like, hey, y'all are wrong as hell for treating her like this. Like, y'all do not have to treat her like this in general. Even if y'all do have a valid issue with her, this is not the way to handle it. All y'all ganging up on her like this, like, what the fuck? But what Spirit is saying is having to recognize and accept what you represent to people. And no matter how much you try to assimilate, you're always going to be who you are, and you're always going to represent what you represent. And so these types of people are always going to find some way and reason to attack you, to make you the scapegoat. And if anything, they also know how they benefit off of your purity in more ways than one, like also in a wealth sense, amongst, they feel entitled to your respect. So for some of you, you may operate with them. You may just be the type of person that is respectful and respectable in general. You have a godly sense of love. You have a godly sense of respect. You have a godly sense of functioning and integrity and consideration and all that. Again, Christ-like consciousness. But these people, because of the way you are, be it queer, witchy, spiritual, you know, whatever this taboo different thing is from them, you come from a different culture from them, or, you know, whatever what have you, one way or another, they feel like they are superior. So for instance, they may come from a family of straight people. They may come from, they may be a white family and you yourself are black or melanated, whatever what have you. They may be rich. You may come from a less well-off family. They may be Christian. You may come from a family that is of a different religion, or you yourself may just be spiritual. You may be on the witchy side type shit. They feel superior because of whichever group they fit into. So you being respectful to them and considerate of them and all this, that, and the third, they feel entitled to that. The same way they feel entitled to be microaggressive towards you, send you violent energy, send you hateful energy, do, you know, whatever disrespectful, fucked up things they do and say to you and about you, they feel entitled to that. And so this card comes in with like having to accept that because you are unconditionally loving and respectful and considerate, you literally have to remove yourself from certain things and allow for people to eliminate themselves, and or allow for people to learn from your absence for the sake of them choosing to elevate for themselves. And that could be by them following you. It's kind of giving me like the image of someone who, it's giving me Alice in Wonderland type shit, but it's also giving me someone who leaves the family home, and then sooner or later after, the little sister or someone ends up following behind eventually and being like, hey, you were right when you left, all that shit fucking went to hell, everything came out, da 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 da. And or they themselves leave and go on their own path and become whoever they're supposed to be. And then later on you look and you're like, whoa, damn, what, you still talk to such and such? And y'all like, nah, I left not long after you left. They was tripping. Or like those messages that came up about someone dealing with a relationship and their family is basically disapproving of you. And you may have to leave them for them to make a clear decision on which side they're going to truly commit to. Are they going to leave and cleave to you? Or are they going to stay and continue the cycles on and whatever this culture is that they have going on with their family and have had going on all of this time? Another possibility from that is they could stay behind, and then eventually your absence teaches them and makes it even clearer to them, like, nah, I got to elevate the fuck up out of this. Whether they catch up with you or they go on their own path and do so or not. It's very open-ended here. It's given that because this is a very colorful collective amongst the fact that, you know, those shamanic elements of it and the generational curses and pathologies of it all too is why it's so open-ended, because it's like crossroads decision, karmic stuff that's going on where free will is being tested. The sense of free will is being tested here. So most certainly, if nothing else, make a conscious effort, a drastic, vigorous effort to be compassionate with yourself, graceful and patient with yourself, to allow yourself to really feel through your emotions. If you need to call in for a mental health day or at certain moments and this and that, I'm seeing someone like needing to excuse themselves. You feel like you need to excuse yourself, like go ahead. I'm even seeing someone or some people literally like breaking down, crying somewhere in public. Don't be ashamed, because you're going to see it's going to be someone or some people that immediately act to support you. And for some of you, this would be like reciprocation of comfort and support that you've given to them. And in general, this is like a reward. This is spirit, the universe showing you that relationships can be restorative and that you don't always have to be the strong one, that there are other people that are specifically in place, that you have put specifically in place, that God has put specifically in place to be restorers to you as well. And it's like, because y'all are the type that has like a really hard time receiving and asking for help and being vulnerable around people, it's kind of like a fated situation where it's had to build up for you to break down and essentially be forced into vulnerability with certain people so that you can learn who is truly capable and they're willing and able and purposed and being restorative to you mutually, and who has just been parasiting off of you and who has just been sitting you up on this big ass thorn needle to generate energy and wealth and shit for them. And for some of you, you may have people approaching you like, why are you not doing this? Why haven't you made it further? Why, like, what's going on with your career? Why haven't you made it further? Why aren't you generating, like, one way or another? There's a spectrum of language of them asking, why isn't wealth, joy, comfort, and things of that nature generating from you like it usually does? And Spirit is saying, it's because these people that are questioning you like this, they're draining you. They're draining your life force energy. And you've been so used to just being the generator and marching through it and fighting through it and just, you know, whatever, just existing through it, that you haven't realized how much they have been draining you. They've been draining your life force energy. It's affecting your money. And they don't want to take accountability for the fact that they are the ones that are holding you back and holding you down and draining from you. And so they're making it your fault. They're like, you must not be doing enough. You must not be fucking with me like you usually do. Or they're making it like you're hiding something from them. Like you're lying about how much money you actually have. Or you're lying about how much opportunities and how much is actually going for you, because they're like, I'm not benefiting off of your presence the way that I used to do. What the fuck is going on? So instead of them taking accountability for being fucking parasites, and it's like, for a lot of them, they know that I'm hearing a stain on your resume. They know that they're an anchor on you, that they're draining you, that they're holding you back. But they don't want to admit it, and they still want to benefit off you. They want to keep you around. But they can also recognize how their presence in your life is fucking up your love and money frequency, because it's draining your life force. And it's given that they really thought that they would always be able to just, like, they thought that you were indestructible. They thought that you were truly indestructible, Tinkerbell, Alice in Wonderland type energy. They thought you were like running on endless lives, which in a sense you are, but you're still human. You're still human. And because y'all had specific things disarmed in y'all from childhood, this is also why certain aspects of them, certain dark entities and energies and all of that have been able to get through y'all's spiritual protection type shit. And it's also because it's giving me images of Harry Potter. Y'all's divine realm is trying to get y'all to call back this sense of protection over y'all. And it has something to do with transmuting pain and divinely directed anger. And because it seems like y'all's frequency of anger has been so watered down and snuffed out from childhood and disarmed, this is another way that they've been able to get through, and certain wolves that sheep symbolism come back through. Certain types of wool has been able to be pulled over y'all eyes and, you know, things of that nature. Yeah, this is dehumanizing. They've been dehumanizing y'all. That's what that is. It's a frequency of dehumanization. Where I'm hearing super nigga. So yeah, it's a frequency. I'm gonna explain what a super nigga is. A super nigga is something that is often used to glamorize certain types of black people. And on the surface, it seems like it's a compliment, but it's dehumanization. It's that thing that feeds into a black stereotype that black people have a supernatural pain tolerance, have a supernatural trauma tolerance, have a supernatural abuse tolerance, chaos tolerance, things of that nature. So they can take it. They can take it and they won't ever destruct. They don't cry. They don't need nothing. They don't need no help. And black women get this a lot specifically, where we're dehumanized in a way that people think we could just take anything, everything, and never fall apart, never cry, never need any help, never need to just and that people can just drain and drain and drain and drain and beat and beat and beat and beat and ask and ask and ask and take and take and take and take and take. And then when we don't have anything left, they're like, why are you empty? And so this is a part of that being propped up on a pedestal type thing, token. Being a token. Yeah, someone handling y'all or approaching y'all like, you're not like the other gays. Or you're not like the other black people. You're not like, or someone say, you like to sound white, or you're like a white black person, you're like an Oreo, or like something like that. Or you're not like the other spiritual girls. You're not like the other spiritual people. You're different. And a part of that difference is them feeling entitled to make you their slave, and them picking up on the fact that some part of you is conditioned to enslave yourself to other people's expectations, trauma responses, weaknesses, and things of that nature because of this trauma response and this training essentially of holding yourself overly accountable and overly responsible. So it creates this thing and dynamic of like people who are like, I'm not homophobic, I have gay employees. I'm not racist, my wife is black. I'm not colorist, my wife is dark skinned or my husband is dark skinned. But the way that you treat them is like indoctrinated slaves, or they don't truly have a voice, or they can't truly take up space in the situation and in the environment. They're just there, for what they do for you. And you're essentially, they're essentially tolerating the fact that you're black. They're tolerating the fact that you're gay. They're tolerating the fact that you're spiritual because they want to benefit from all of these other things. So all of these other things are worth it enough, at least for whatever time being, for them to blind themselves, if you will, to these other attributes about who you are that they have been conditioned and committed to hating and mistreating. It comes out either way. So again, this card calls y'all to do deep intentional meditation. You would likely want to do this meditation in the shower or in the tub or in a sauna or something of the sort, by water one way or another. And it's meant to help you get totally back to self and the truth of your relationship with the divine, the truth of your relationship with the God within you, your higher self, shadow self, and inner child, as well as past life selves. But I can definitely thoroughly pick up that y'all's inner children have something very specific to say to y'all. Amongst certain specific ancestors of y'all have something specific to say to y'all. And for some of y'all, it's Santisima Mama Muerte that has something specific to say to y'all. And it has to do with whatever this deeper truth is that brings peace. You've been taught that whatever this deeper truth is represents chaos and demonic destruction and all this shit, which is why you have suppressed it for so long, right? And so it needs to come back up because you're needing to be met back. You need to be awakened back to that truth that it was nothing ever wrong with you and there's nothing ever wrong with this truth in the first place. However, it is a truth that brings chaos to facilitators of chaos. It brings destruction to, again, homes that should have never been built in the first place, towers that should have never been built in the first place. So it's chaos for the sake of peace. It's pain for the sake of pleasure, for the sake of release, in a real sense, in an abundant sense, and in a broad sense, in a creating space for more peace, love, and tranquility to truly be facilitated and not be so clogged up and polluted with all these other motherfuckers over here in connections and bonds and facilitators of bullshit. Shout tisk. So it's just like a harsh reality that y'all will have to make peace with. Oh my gosh. It's bringing up Sodom and Gomorrah. And where Spirit is saying Sodom and Gomorrah and the liking villages, they weren't brought down because of no gay shit. They were brought down because of bigotry. They were destroyed because of bigotry, because of intense, willful bigotry and oppression. And so y'all are having to make peace with having God-like traits of bringing down villages that facilitate bigotry and oppression in the name of love. And some of these villages or the village that you're meant to bring down, it consists of some people that you love and care about. And Spirit is giving, you're going to have to love and care about them enough to destroy them. Because you're going to have to love and care about yourself and what you represent and God's word and what is divine and what is truly for the best of the greater good more than you love and care about these people. Because it's given they're in the way of humanity. They are menaces to society. Tisk. Ooh, child. So, it's, quite heavy messages, quite heavy energy. But it's for the best, and it's like, I'm hearing Spirit say, this is somebody's grandma or something saying, go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off, baby, because you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Yeah, it's going to hurt at first. It's going to seem real loud and destructive and all of that shit at first. Like, look at the imagery of the car. It's a whole lot going on around her. And to some degree, it looks beautiful. Right? Okay. But spirit and whoever grandma's these is, they like, you're going to be all right. It was built up to be broken down because it shouldn't have never been built in the first place. But it was allowed to be built so that specific things could be learned about it beyond a shadow of a doubt, like a Rico case. Ooh. Ooh. And that brings back up those messages like about money laundering and something unethical, illegal, immoral handlings of money or something like that. Street life. That's the only thing I know. Street life. That's not a coincidence. That's a song channeling. Pray and meditate on what it's meant to mean for you. Okay? But yeah. Whoever grandma's that is, you heard what they said. Don't hit the rim that band-aid off. It's gonna hurt at first. It's gonna be live and loud and all that other shit at first. But you're gonna be all right. I mean, they got their arms around you. They are a tabernacle of refuge for you. It's gonna look crazy, but you're gonna be all right. They giving me the image of Nancy and Sarah at the end of the movie The Craft, and where Nancy was doing all of those altering reality spells that were inflicting an illusion of reality of all of Sarah's worst fears and deepest, darkest traumas and shit like that. So that's what they're telling me. Like, when y'all rip this band-aid off, it's gonna be people and entities that start sprouting up illusions of all your worst fears and your deepest, darkest traumas and all of that, trying to bring you down, trying to get you to self-destruct. Like Nancy was doing. She was trying to get Sarah to chop at her own wrist. You know what I'm saying? She was trying to get herself to take herself up out of here. She had done facilitated some self-offing notes and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So these are some warnings. Like, when you rip this band-aid off and you make whatever final decision it is that you make, which would likely be towards choosing yourself one way or another, because it already came up several times, y'all have been trained to conform, but y'all are not conformers for real. And it's been showing. And this is also why a lot of people that you've gotten to know so well and got so comforted with, this is why some of them are starting to act different with you and kind of turn on you and shit like that, because they're starting to recognize, wait a minute, I thought we told you put them damn crystals up. I thought we told you stop all that gay shit. I thought I told you supposed to be at the house barefoot and pregnant, cooking my food by the time I get home. What's all this work shit you talking about? What's all these businesses you trying to open? What is this? What, you ain't got your hijab on? What the fuck? What is this? I thought I told you. You see what I'm saying? It's starting to show that you are not a slave. God ain't make no slaves. You ain't never been no slave. Okay? No niggas. There are none. Never was any. Even when they brought us over here like a cow, goat, a chicken, they knew we weren't that. Okay? If you know, you know. But yeah, dog, the veil is lifting off of y'all. Inevitably. Like, from the inside out, y'all's veil is lifting. And those really ops that have been around you, that you have been calling family, some of y'all been calling friend, co-worker, some of y'all been calling bae, or whatever, what have you, they're ops trying to be your slave master, trying to make you their Steven. They want to be, all this time it's been like a goal to be your Master Candy and you be their Steven, or their Broomhilda as a bed wench. But Django finna shut all that shit the fuck down. And who is Django, you say? Django is you in your divine realm. Yes, God. And so it's a perfect time for me to go to the book and read off to y'all some of these beautiful tanks to help you all in y'all's healing and meditative practices. Feel free to take a screenshot of the card and feel free to screen record, audio record what I'm reading off. So we're into the book. 21. Dadri, hearing truth. There is a deeper truth that shall bring peace to your heart, offering you guidance, comfort, and renewal. You are guided to turn within for your answers. Do not allow another to interrupt, influence, or distort your personal trusting relationship with the divine. Allow Great Spirit to be your highest counsel always, and you shall never be led astray. You shall know the words to speak and the consciousness to hold to evoke healing and set things right. Listen for deep within. Trust is known. Okay? Spiritual guidance. You have an intuitive ability to recognize truths of the spirit. Dadri is an Australian Aboriginal term for a deep spiritual practice of reflective and respectful listening. It is a deep listening for truth beyond physical words and their logical meaning. It is the way the shaman hears with the soul. So to pinpoint there, a lot of people around y'all, this is where microaggression comes in. Y'all have heard me use that term a lot throughout this reading because that frequency has channeled throughout here. Y'all have been surrounded by a lot of microaggressive people. And this is a part of the frequency of confusion that y'all have gotten accustomed to, but now y'all are starting to wake up to it, and it's starting to create a rage that feels desperate for detangling, and it's bringing out fiery, very, very fiery energy to like purify the cords and shit all apart, as opposed to detangling from it, just burning it all to fucking shreds and ashes to set yourself free. All right, so yeah. Because a common thing with microaggression is people saying a bunch of words that don't match the energy that they're transferring to you. So they could be saying, I love you, but the energy that they're transferring is sinister. The energy that they're transferring is, I really hate you. Like sometimes you can hear a person say, I love you, or like even I was watching something the other day and it was Erica Mena having a heartfelt moment, what seemed to be a heartfelt moment with another girl on Love and Hip Hop. And it was a frequency I picked up on when she said, she was like, I don't want you to go through what I've went through. And what I picked up on that empathically is the emotional transfer that Erica was giving off could easily come off like she's so passionate about what she's saying because she cares so much about this girl that she's talking to that it's like painful to her in a way, you know, that she loves her so much she hurts for her. That's how that can easily come off. But what I was picking up on is that Erica was desperate for herself, and she had to play that role real hard so she could have an ally. And it pained her to express passionate empathy for someone else, knowing that she really don't give a fuck about how their situation turns out. The tears that she's having are for herself, but she's repurposing them to try to convince this girl that she's on her side. That's microaggression. You're saying one thing and your energy transfer is something else, but it can easily be excused away by, oh, she's passionate for her, or oh, she's triggered, or oh, they're going through something. Because ask yourself, how many times you've been triggered? How many times you've been going through something? How many times you felt this like painful empathy for someone else, and you did not weaponize it, and or you did not abuse them in the process about it. You did not misuse your emotions and your triggers and this and that against them. How many times have you been in pain and you didn't take your shit out on everybody else? How many times have you been going through manic episodes, depression, all types of shit, rough mornings, rough nights, no sleep, all that shit, and you maintain your sense of purity and divinity and respect for yourself and everybody else? How many times? Come on, K. Michelle. How many times? So stop letting people make excuses and justification for treating you like bullshit. It doesn't matter that somebody died. It doesn't matter that they're going through something. It doesn't matter that they're triggered. They grown. They need to be responsible for their own damn triggers and their own damn fucking healing. Stop letting people make excuses and justification for trying to enslave you and have you be fucking Coon Steven about it. God ain't make no slaves. Now back to the reading. Part of the shamanic life path involves mastery over the extremes of existence. Ooh, yes. Energetic highs followed by crushing fatigue. Feeling taxed beyond your limits of body and mind, perhaps even an experience of near death or symbolic death of the personality. A profoundly challenging illness in the body or mind, or a period of spiritual darkness which eventually leads you to a healing rebirth. These are all possible ways that the shamanic soul can progress through its training. Such challenges are a form of initiation, teaching the soul to become able to consciously contain and channel energy according to its will, rather than being tossed about by forces of the world. And that is very important to note, because that gives answers as to why so many people, even from y'all's childhood, has gone out of their way to disturb your personal relationship with the God in you, because they know and can sense that you had this shamanic purpose and energy about yourself where you don't need other people to initiate you into anything. The God within you initiates you. This is like real strong version energy. Also like true version energy. You truly don't need a whole lot of guidance and hands-on-ness and people putting stuff in your head about how to think and feel and all this other fucking shit. But you have attracted a lot of that because opposing forces do not want masses to know that positive truth, that they can be self-sufficient in such the way. Not to say that you don't need anybody, or that we all don't co-collab and give and take mutually, information and all of that shit. We educate each other, yes. What it's saying is you don't need a master. You are the master. You don't need a mentor. You are the mentor. What you need is a group of like-minded, like-spirited, like-purposed people. So you can team up with other mentors of your kind. So you can team up with other teachers of your kind. So you can team up with other masters of your kind. Not have all of these sheep trying to force you to follow them when they not even leading, thinking, or feeling for them damn selves. And just wanting to feel big by being able to say that they conquered you, and or that they converted and assimilated you. All right, back to the reading. The shaman is empowered to guide others through what has been mastered, moderating and containing what is required for healing. This evokes balance in the lives of those they touch. So this also calls to action to look around and see who is resistant, be it extra resistant to the peace that you represent, the tranquility that you represent, and who jails to it. Look around and see who takes inspiration from you properly, who catches your flashes properly. And I say that in that way because, like what was just said through the channeling, y'all don't need to be led. Y'all are the leaders. Y'all need teammates. So it's a look around to see who your teammates are. Your teammates see good things that you do, and they catch that flash in a proper, pure way. You rub off on them in good ways, and you're able to see it. They may even, let you know, hey girl, I tried that thing, how, you do this, so I tried it for myself just to see how it would work, and it's been working. If they give you credit, it's not just copycat shit. They're actually giving you pure-hearted flattery through active inspiration. Versus you may look around and see people that literally try to copycat you. They just come out of nowhere trying to do shit that you do. They don't give you no credit. They use your talking points as their own and this and that and the third. And or certain shit you may bring up to someone. Men got it real bad for this. When women tell them something and they'll resist it and argue and this and that, and then another man say it and they're like, oh yeah, it's the Bible. Or just out of nowhere, they'll come back and they'll say something that you already told them and fought tooth and nail with them about, but they'll say it as if they thought of it on their own. Like that conversation, that argument never happened. They just had an epiphany. You may look around and start to notice some shit like that. And or you may notice that with certain people, the more you change, the more they stay the same. Or the more you try to be positive with them, the more negative they respond to you. The more you try to bring peace to certain situations, the more you try to resolve certain problems, they just come back with more problems. Or they just stay focused on the problem. They be 10 toes down in problems. They just be committed to fucking problems. Those are not your true village. And it's not as easy as it can be misconstrued based on, the purpose of spiritual workers and shamans specifically. You're meant to wake people up. You're meant to evoke positive change in people. You're meant to teach people and things of that nature. A part of that is recognizing who is not your audience, who is not your congregation, who is not your divinely designed village. You feel me? Who is not your community and who is straight up ops amongst that. Because it's one thing for someone to just not be a part of your community. They just not a part of your tribe. It's another thing for them to be straight up ops. Because you can have allyship. Like those are some messages that came up for a group of people in this collective, that you're coming into some really pure allyship, and you and those harmonious allies that you got there gonna be having to go against the grain of some other people that y'all probably was hiding for before, or hiding from, keeping y'all stuff, keeping y'all interactions and stuff on the low before. But now y'all finna be emerging like, yeah, we allies, yeah, we teammates, we like this here, and what? Y'all gonna get these lessons and blessings, or you gonna move the fuck around, and it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that type shit going on, recognizing the difference between some odd shit coming together harmoniously versus some thick ass square pegs trying to be fit and forced into little triangular pegs, triangular holes, if you will, and it just don't fit. It's not true allyship. It's not true teammate stuff. It's not true partnership. It's one person trying to assimilate the other, or one group of people trying to assimilate another group of people, and one group of people trying to fucking grin and bear it through absolute war and chaos. Tisk. Okay, so being guided to true community and true partnership is what y'all are needing, because it seems like y'all do very well at maintaining like your own sense of optimism and things of that nature, but your emotional regulation is stunted, and therefore a sense of emotional maturity is also stunted in certain ways. Like, yeah, even though y'all are so supreme and y'all are supernaturally capable and all this stuff, like even at your worst, you still the best. At the same time, you're still human, and there are certain things here that are on the frequency of arrested development, and it doesn't show up the same way that it does for other people because of the types of beings that y'all are. Like I said, even at y'all worst, y'all still the best, and y'all still are accountable for yourselves. Y'all are having to work on not being overly accountable for everything, overly responsible for everyone and everything. And that is the difference too between y'all and these other people who have arrested development. They have no sense of responsibility. They may have responsibilities, right? They may have kids, they may have jobs, bills, and all of that shit, but they don't have a true sense of responsibility, let alone being responsible for themselves, let alone what it truly means to be responsible, let alone accountable. They don't have that. And so they leech on other people who do have that, let alone who are overly accountable. Because overly accountable people will more easily enable their bullshit and enable their temper tantrums and shit, and enable their trauma responses and make excuses for how they react to their triggers and shit all unnecessarily. Versus someone who is simply accountable, who has a good sense of accountability, they're going to hold themselves accountable, and they're going to hold other people accountable. They're going to be like very, very hard for people to try to assimilate and conform and try to make flying monkeys or Coon Stevens or shit like that. So again, y'all are working on balancing y'all sense of accountability and responsibility, reeling it in to not be overly accountable and overly responsible, because that's been getting you in these cycles of I say all of these parameters of prevention, and shit still happen. Granted, you can't control everything, but it's giving like You've been manifesting from a place of pain and anger, and we don't need that. And it's not that you can't manifest pain or anger. It's that y'all's pain and anger has not been tapped into. It hasn't truly been faced and acknowledged, and you haven't truly gotten intimate with it to explore it and process it, and therefore transmute it, release it, divinely direct it, whatever, what have you. So that's why that being dormant there in the recipe has been sprouting up fuck shit amongst setting up certain types of preventionary parameters, doing the right thing and shit like that around creatures that have it as a part of their nature to destroy and destruct. It does not work. You will drain yourself. You'll forever be cleaning up for them to mess it back up, cleaning up for them to mess it back up, cleaning up for them to mess it back up, for them to be messing it up as you're trying to clean it up. Okay, it's like getting a catio for a goat. Goat gonna eat that shit up. It's gonna eat it up. It's gonna tear it up, because that's in non-domesticated goat's nature to tear shit up. So you can't be trying to build around motherfuckers with a goat mentality. You can't be trying to like truly co-collab with people who have herd mentality. You know, sheep don't run with lion, snake don't swing with monkey. You feel me? So you could be doing all the right moves in all the wrong places. That's what it's giving. And it's not to say that you don't do any of the right moves in the right places. It's just coming up that a lot and or most of your energy has been going towards pouring into, you've had this mindset like, well, they really need it. They're really struggling. They are really like, you know, not self-sufficient, or they're really going through this. So they really need my attention. They really need my time. They really need this money. Because it's bad investments, because you're pouring into bottomless pits. You're giving wealth to people who don't truly value it, who are just going to throw it away, demonize it, stomp all over it, or just sit it up on the shelf as a vanity souvenir, as opposed to pouring it into people who are more like-spirited to you, who will be fruitful and multiplicative with it, let alone reciprocal to you with that same energy. I hope I explained that in a great manner. I feel like I did, but I hope that, you know, I made that as clear as possible about the investments, because people can be real good at like, well, you know, my life is falling apart and I'm so desperate and and oh my God, and woe is me. To make, you know, spiritual workers in particular, people who are very empathetic and empathic and things of that nature, be like, oh, well, yeah, I gotta pour all into this and da da da. And you look at other people who are kind of more on your same level, more self-sufficient. A lot of parents have a tendency to do their kids like this too. They'll be like, oh, little Sally is so independent. She don't need all of my attention. Oh, but little Molly, she is just so damsel in distress. I gotta coddle her and da 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 da. And the whole time, Sally may not look like she's in need all the time, but Sally still need attention. Sally still need guidance. Sally still needs to be parented. And Sally is not getting parented because the parents think, oh, Sally just carries everything so well. Just because she carries it well doesn't mean that it's not heavy. And Sally could be great if Sally had more support. Yeah, Sally's good, but she could be great and even more fruitful and multiplicative. Sally may also not find herself in a hell of a lot of toxic situations with people who are unavailable to her and emotionally unavailable to her and neglectful and abandoning and shit to her, if her parents didn't act that out on her as well. And she wouldn't have this cycle of giving all of her goodness and greatness to people who are bottomless pits if Sally's parents didn't think, oh, she carries it so well, she don't need no help. While Sally's parents is over there making Molly the type of person that is abusing little Sally. Okay? Hope I explained that properly. I hope you was able to pick up what's being put down right there. All right? Soul training in the shamanic way happens through your life experiences. And that taps into those messages that was coming up from the grandmother spirits that was saying that they allowed you to get this far with certain things and certain relationships and in building certain things so that you could get a clear view of what things are, like building a RICO case, a clear, beyond a shadow of a doubt answer to generations of questions. So yeah. Training includes the experience of altered states of consciousness to feed the need of your soul to expand beyond the restrictions of everyday reality and feel genuinely connected and supported by a vaster spiritual reality. Okay? Going to move on down towards the healing process, which will have the affirmative prayer and meditative directions and all of that. Before I do, I'm gonna read this part of the text. Trust that your heart will recognize your true teachers, which will not always be those that claim to be your true teachers, as you participate fully in your unfolding journey with trust. Okay, that is given that people who are, specifically people, that is, as in beings in human form, that are truly here to teach you, like soul partners type shit, those people will just do. They'll just assume the position. It won't be so much conversation of my position, or you doing this like this, or I did this for you on this day, but you ain't do this for me on that day, and da da da. It won't be all of that. It won't be all of that power struggle bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It won't be all of that like extra trying to compensate and trying to dick swing and sub-dom dynamics and all that shit. They'll just come in as a partner. Like, you want a basketball court. You pass the ball, they're gonna catch it. if you fumble a little bit, they're gonna catch your rebound. You know what I'm saying? You ain't really gotta ask. They'll, you know, anticipate certain shit for you. It's kind of like, hey, you good? Da da da. Shit like that. They'll just bestow information on you spontaneously in a way that is really more fun and whimsical, and like y'all are having a meeting of minds, like y'all are collabing on something, as opposed to them like finger wag over your head in your face, trying to authoritarian, like it won't be like this authoritarian style, or even like this nice nasty fake ass church mother type of way of being like, you know, you might want to pull that skirt down, or it ain't all that. Okay. So yeah, your true soul partners will more so just be. It won't be all this like forceful behavior and shit, in one way or another, or feeling like competition and all of this shit. It's not. It won't be all of that. Like I said, they will just be. They will just play their role on the team as they know from their own intuition and being how to play their role. All right, getting into the affirmative meditation and such. Find a place to sit where you can rest in silence or in the healing sounds of nature. If you prefer, rest with beautiful music, perhaps creating your own with singing bowls or your voice. Allow the sounds that fill your ears, even if those sounds are silence, to be recognized as sacred. Gently rub your ears, massaging lightly around the base of your ears, where they connect with your head. Then visualize, feel, or pretend that your ears can relax. The inside of the ears becoming relaxed. The outside of your ears becoming relaxed. Say aloud. I release from my ears on all levels, physical, electrical, and spiritual, anything that is not of the divine. I release all lies and criticisms. I release all pain. I soften and let go so my ears can become empty and ready to receive the healing comfort of great beloved spirit. I invite in the truth of unconditional love, divine guidance, and sacred silence now. Then rest. That's the direction. Then, after that affirmative saying, you may rest. Imagine, feel, or pretend that your ears can become so relaxed that they become pleasantly empty of pressure, heat, and tension. You may like to move your jaw around and open your mouth to help relax the ears. Then soften your face, and when you feel suitably relaxed, imagine, feel, or pretend that a soft silence, which is the love and presence of Great Spirit, is with you completely now. Stay here for as long as you wish. Okay? And complete your healing session, meditative session, however you usually do, however you prefer, one way or another. So now and finally, we're going to get on into just a quick, elaborative, confirming, and clarifying cards that I have for y'all. And these are going to be straight to the point. So y'all's first card that y'all have is a detox card. This is definitely giving y'all are needing to detox from meat, alcohol, excess sodium, sugar, bread, starches. You can start with one and move to the other, or start with two. Definitely, like, be honest and be graceful and be patient with yourself, because taking yourself through such a drastic change of a fast, like if you try to fast from all of that at once, you can send your body into a state of shock or starvation and shit like that. So definitely do your own personal research on the best way to go about detoxing and fasting for yourself. For some of you, you needed to do this with apple cider vinegar water. Of course, drink regular water too. But y'all are needing to detox with apple cider vinegar water, detox with dandelion root tea. Hearing somebody needs to ingest ashwagandha or more ashwagandha. Also needing to do some social media scrolling detoxes. And what's coming up there is that before you even open social media, have a clear intent of what you want to see when you open the app, so that when you open the app, you go straight to the search bar and you type in whatever the nature is of whatever it is that you want to see. And if you can't think of anything at the time, that's a sign to find something else to do. But make sure that you pinpoint that, like, your intention of whatever it is that you want to see when you open the app is something that is encouraging, something that speaks to the truth of yourself and the truth of your true heart's desire. Okay. Y'all's next card is another part of the detox is some of y'all are needing to take a pause from someone or some people. Y'all are needing to kind of go missing in action from someone or some people. Y'all are needing to go missing in action from someone or some people. So that could mean taking a solo vacation, or if you live with a person, you may want to get a room for yourself and just stay there for like probably over the weekend or for like a week if you're able to do so. Like I said, you can take a solo vacation as well type shit. Someone is needing to have like some more intimate time with themselves and basically detox from a specific person and or specific people. The next card is don't rely on your friends or the internet. Listen to a damn professional. So some of you are literally needing professional therapy to work yourself out of whatever these toxic situations and relationships are. Of course, that brings up those mental challenges and things of that nature. For some of you, you need to get a spiritual worker to do some spiritual castings and cleanses for you. instead of like trying to do them for yourself. Even, you know, this is a shamanic group, so I'm sure a lot of you already know how to do castings for yourself. But this card coming up, and amongst the other messages that came up, y'all are needing to allow some other people to assume their positions. Y'all are needing to allow some other people to do for y'all, to truly be friends to y'all, to truly be you know, partners and spiritual workers to y'all for a change. Do some castings for y'all, do some readings for y'all, you know, pour into y'all for a change. Also, of course, like I said, therapy. For some of you, the detox may be rehab. You may feel like you want to check yourself into a rehab. For some of you, you may be dealing with, or you may have had an addiction to something, and the circumstances that you've been under have been like triggering that addiction, have been triggering you to want to relapse and or replace the substance with another substance. And so you feeling like you want to go ahead and check yourself into a rehab to prevent relapse type shit. And for some of you, it may be to prevent a breakdown, to prevent in general, let alone to get out of the situation that you're in healthily and safely. Okay. Because also, like I said, it's a lot of mental challenges that y'all were born with, certain things that was instilled in y'all throughout y'all's lives through like abuse and microaggressions and things of that nature. And so in order to truly break free of the current situations and relationships that y'all needed to break free from, y'all are going to need therapy, so that y'all can not only, y'all gonna need therapy and professional counseling and such, so that y'all can not only physically leave that situation, but dissolve and heal whatever it is that's had you in this long cycle of like attracting the same demons in different skin, or constantly going through the same cycle over and over again, like a Groundhog's Day type shit, living the same day over and over and over and over and over again. So it's like, whereas you could leave this situation and then in the next couple of months be in another situation that doesn't seem the same, but turns out exactly the same, because you didn't go in and uproot and germinate whatever it was that was the thorn up the ass of the situation in the first place. So that's also, you know, that's what this card is tapping into. Not just prioritizing leaving the situation physically, but also making sure that you take the proper measures to uproot and germinate the root causes that keep having you in this Groundhog Day and in this endless, has had you in this endless cycle, let alone the generational pathology of it all. What are the contributing root causes that had your ancestors caught up in this cycle? That's like a part of the RICO case information and answers that's been being built up and bestowed upon you, that you've been in the journey to discovering. And getting that extra professional help, like I said, through spiritual workers who do cleanses and castings and things of that nature, like myself. Also, therapy, psychological therapists, mental health specialists, those types of people as well. So yeah. We also have for y'all's final card, reevaluate, change your perspective, or fucking quit. And that card is actually, it's for y'all, but it's not really for y'all. That's actually what y'all are having to declare and demand to people who keep trying to fit you into a box, who keep trying to assimilate you, who keep trying to conquer you in such a way, who keep trying to conform you and enslave you and all this shit. Y'all are needing to declare and demand upon them one way or another, reevaluate, change your perspective of me, or leave me the fuck alone. And you ain't gonna have to worry about leaving me alone. I'm gonna leave your ass alone. So yeah, it's giving get with it or get lost. Like, y'all are having to stop participating in these reindeer games with these motherfuckers that's committed to enslaving you, that's committed to trying to get you to conform and be they little coon Steven while they play like they Master Candy or some goddamn body. Okay? Y'all gotta whip that Django out, no pun intended, and fucking let them know. You gonna reevaluate your motherfucking belief systems and the shit that you got going, change your perspective, or you can say peace the fuck out to me, because I'm gonna definitely say peace the fuck out to you, bitch. So, in a nutshell, y'all's encouragement is definitely towards taking the shackles off y'all feet so y'all can dance, honey. Freeing yourselves from these sheep who think they about to lead the lions. Like, huh? It's giving, yeah, y'all can do bad all by yourself, but y'all really do great by y'all's fucking self. Y'all do a great job at maintaining your own sense of peace, maintaining your own sense of optimism. Like, a lot of the time when you just alone and on your own shit and not, you know, feeling obligated to anyone or anything, y'all be good. But then it's like, when y'all have gotten to attracting certain people, y'all end up attracting people that just try to conquer y'all and enslave y'all and all of that other shit. So that's where it comes in, that what's been disturbing y'all's peace is the people gathering around like, assimilate to our culture or we're going to burn you at the stake. And it's because of this like generational pathology that has instilled some frequency of self-hate, which could even be, you know, self-disregard, because y'all have been taught to disregard y'all's own needs and desires and to disregard y'all's own feelings of pain and anger in order to make other people comfortable and in order to be peace for other people while they're chipping away at you. They're chipping away at you piece by piece. You being peace for them and they chipping away at you piece by piece type shit. So y'all are being guided towards giving more investment and attention to people who are more like-spirited, to people who are more on your level, to people who are more resolution-oriented, who are more self-leading and independent in such a way. And so that y'all can effortlessly be mutually beneficial, mutually teaching, mutually restorative, mutually inspirational, mutually enlightening to each other, and not it always being just you being the maid, mule, mattress, mentor, teacher, pastor, slave, and everything to every fucking body else. And then you come up and when you need something, it's not I said the cat, not I said the dog, not I said the chicken. But then when the cornbread come out and it's looking all good and fit and fine, everybody want a damn piece. Time's up for that bullshit. Time's up for that bullshit. So y'all's encouraging call to action is to go deep within through meditation, channeling towards getting to the truth of yourself, the most prominent, purposeful truth from your inner child, from your higher self, from the God in you, from your shadow self, all leading towards your true divinely designed heart's desire. And it's gonna be some things from y'all's divine realm, y'all's ancestors, and y'all's spiritual selves, past life selves, and all of that. That's gonna give you even more clarity, specifically some direct messages that y'all are meant to get directly from y'all's divine realm to put out into the world however you divinely designed to do so, which of course we're not able to come through this reading because I can't get in the way of y'all's purpose. You feel me? and keep that in mind. Like, as high ranking of a spiritual worker and being as I am, and I'm up here helping y'all out here now, I know for a fact I cannot get in the way of certain shit that y'all are meant to specifically get from God themselves or your divine realm or the God within you type shit. I could try, but I know better and I'm respectful and I'm a real person, like authentic in my belief system and what I do. I'm a real loving person for real. And a part of that love is respecting boundaries. And so that's something that y'all are having to come into the recognition of, that when people ruthlessly disrespect your boundaries and make a habit and a lifestyle of disrespecting your boundaries and trying to conquer you and trying to invade on how you think and feel and your belief systems and all of that shit, and they're trying to literally get in the way of your intimate relationship with God, those are some evil motherfuckers, and they are not for you. Whether they know it or not, whether they mindfully mean to or not, they serve what is oppository to you and what is oppository to the divine. And that has to be faced and accepted and dissolved. So yeah, I believe it's about that time where I remind y'all. You give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. You teach a man a fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Y'all go fishing, baby. And with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry. And I am thoroughly appreciative of the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly qualities for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways like love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.